Greetings. This is Arvat McLean of Speak, the Universe Listens. As a very young person, I always felt that I carried the weight of the world on my shoulders, having to make grown-up decisions in order to survive a life marked with physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. While my face was smiling on the outside, on the inside, I always secretly cried and felt miserable. However, over the years, I learned some gems that helped to turn my life around. I now get to live the life of my dreams, filled with love, travel, and wonderment. And I am absolutely passionate about sharing what I have learned with you. If you want to live your best life, tune in each week as I, along with some amazing guests, share these life-changing gems with you. Inspired to be more, do more, have more.
Greetings. I just wanted to take a moment to say that as we move through this trying time of transition as it relates to the coronavirus, I know that a lot of people will be in a place of struggle. There may be some challenging times ahead, but I've been so grateful to hear stories of people doing great things to help each other. And I just want to keep encouraging us all to do that. I know that the human spirit is going to shine brightly during this time. And like I said, I'm so pleased that things that I'm hearing already. And the thing that I really want to say is that we want to make sure we keep ourselves healthy, our minds healthy, keep focused on what we do want, and realize that this too shall pass. And some kind of way, we're going to get to the other side, and we're going to be better for the experience.
And I would tell you all, from us, from the team, we send you all nothing but positive energy during these trying times. Send you our love, our light, and everybody, make sure you take care of yourself.
All right, and see you in the upcoming podcast. Greetings, and welcome to today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. Today's topic is Ask Quality Questions. And I have Stephen with us today. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good. How are you? How are you?
Great. I'm great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so quality questions.
Yeah.
What do you have to share with us about quality questions?
Well, quality questions. I think that it is very important that we ask ourselves quality questions. We don't even realize that for everything that we think about, we already have the answer to it. You know? So we really need to sit back and take that time out and say, you know what? Why am I doing X, Y, Z? Or how can I get to here? And so forth and so forth. So when you take that time out to ask yourself the how and the why, you'll realize that the whole time you already have the answer to your question.
Right.
So I think that it's really important for all of us to sit back and just, you know what? Hey, that moment that you talk to yourself, and I know everybody talks to themselves. I talk to myself sometimes, you know. So and just going deep and asking yourself, what is it? You know, what do I need to really ask myself? I remember I had to ask myself that question when I was in my journey, just trying to level myself up as a better person. You know, I used to smoke, and I said to myself, well, you know what? I want to stop. You know. So what is it that I need to do in order for me to stop? And so, of course, it was hard, which I don't want to say hard, but it was difficult, put it like that. It was difficult. And when I made that decision, I said, you know what? I know what I need to do. I need to stop buying. Stop buying. That's one issue. And then, two, stop putting myself around people who do smoke. And then after that, then of course, it will start to, I'm slowly stop smoking. And then, eventually stop. So just little things like that, I think that, when we really take the time out to think about it, we'll surprise ourselves, but it's something that we already know, but it's just a reminder, just to say, hey, you know what, instead of looking everywhere else, you already got it. You already got the answer of what you're looking for, and just asking yourself the question.
Okay. So you're basically saying that whatever the question is, we know, so we don't necessarily have to go outside of ourselves to find the answer.
Right. You don't need to, I mean, you can, of course, people have an answer for you, but sometimes the answer may not align with what you really, what you know to be true for yourself. So, really, honestly, the importance of it is it makes you explore. It makes you have an open mind. It gets you out of that box that a lot of us are in, because a lot of people just have one way of thinking. And so when you start to ask quality questions, that expands a person's horizon as to where it's like, you know what, well, I never thought about this. Well, let me try this. Let me take this risk, and see what, if I ask this question, what will happen, you know what I'm saying? So I really think that it helps people to explore and get out of that box of where they're so used to, where they're so used of going about their everyday life based on their belief system. And so questioning it is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So I think so too. For me, I think that everything that I experience is a result of something that I'm doing. And so I take responsibility for every single thing that happens in my environment. And so a lot of times when things are happening, I'm like, why is that happening? What am I doing that's drawing that attention to me? So even, if I hurt my knee, then I'm thinking, what energy am I putting out that caused me to hurt my knee? Or if some terrible thing should happen at work, maybe some people might be in an argument or whatever, but I had to witness it. Like, what was I doing that caused that to show up in my environment? So I really think that everything that happened was a reflection of whatever energy you're putting out. And we are in control of our energy field. And so by being aware of our ability to control our energy field, we're only going to get things that's a match.
Exactly.
And so if I'm getting a lot of stuff that's unwanted, why?
Exactly.
Why? What is it that I need to clean up in my energy field?
You mirror it, so you got a good point there. So that's why I tell people, even with my experiences, when I started to ask myself those questions, it was amazing to me. I was like, wow. Because beforehand, I was really just trying to do everything in my power to go to people to get the answer. And not realizing that I'm going to everybody to get an answer for something that I already know. And so when I really realized that, I said, wow, I already know the answer, but why am I acting like I don't know the answer, But when I really took that risk to break that wall, to break that barrier, and to saying, you know what, take the risk and go, you know the answer, believe it. Believe it and believe in yourself. And boom, go for it.
Yeah.
And when I did, then all of a sudden, that's when the wall came down. And I just started to really question everything.
Yeah.
And then when I started questioning everything, it was just like my mind just was very enlightened, because everything that I believed and thought to be true, I sit back and I question everything. And it just made me feel a lot more encouraged, I would say, because a lot of people that are in a box, that's scared to step out of that box, the thing that holds them back is not wanting to take the risk, because a lot of people, like I said, they know the answer, but the problem is, it's just you're so stuck to this belief system of what you have, and whatever it is, as far as like growing up, or it could be a certain way that you go about your day, but whatever the case may be, it's okay to sit back and ask yourself the question, well, let me try something different.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So you're right. We do get stuck in our own little paradigms, and we think that's all there is.
Mm-hmm.
And when you, like you say, when you start questioning things, then you're like, wait a minute, it's another way to be. It's another way to view things, and it can be so different from what you're used to
Right.
that it could cause you to want to retreat.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, as you said, when you take that step, it's like a whole new world opens up
Right.
for you. I remember seeing this movie years and years ago, and I can never remember if it was called. It might have been A Bug's Life or
Mhm.
Life of Ants, or
I seen all the Disney
or-
movies. I seen all the Disney.
it was something like that. But that movie made me think, because I remember one scene, and I probably not remember it exactly correctly, but I remember it was like an ant who, I think they were like talking to each other, and they were like, I heard that it's a world, a whole new different world out there where there's, you know, like candy and popcorn and ice cream, you know.
Right.
And they're like, really? Like, and so they're like, they wish it was, they hope it is, but they think it's just a fairy tale.
Right.
And you know, so they're like kind of zoomed in on the ants, but then when it backs it up, then they can see that if they went to the other side, it was like this trash can at an amusement park.
Right.
And so that's like
a
whole new world.
I was like, wow.
And I always think about that kind of concept, like seeing where I am right now and how
Right.
things look to me in this moment.
Uh-huh.
But then if I back it up a little bit, how would that look? And if I backed it up some more,
Well,
how would that look? Right.
That's pretty good. That's a good way of looking at it. That's a good way of looking at it. But when people do, though, when people start to ask the quality questions, it will really change their life and make them be able to take the risk without feeling like, feeling discouraged or either held back, by their belief system. So it's really encouraging to me. My main thing that really made me step out my box was at one time I wasn't a people person. Okay, I was just more of a crab in my shell. Don't like people. I like you, but I don't like you.
Right.
So I had to learn as to where, okay, if I want to make friends, Stephen, how are you going to make friends if you continue to sit back and you're invited to events and you just I like you, but being antisocial. So I had to dig in deep for myself and say, you know what, you're not gonna make no friends if you don't sit back and just take the risk, go out, meet people, talk to people. And I stepped out that box, went out and started to meet people. And to my amazement, hey, I'm running into awesome individuals, people that I never thought I would talk to, So that was something very interesting for me. It was one step. And it's something that I apply in an everyday basis. I try to sit back and always ask myself a quality question because it keeps my mind open. And that's what I like. I never think that I know everything because I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. But the more you keep your mind open, the more able you are to be receptive to something new.
Right.
And I always love to learn something new. If it's something that, hey, you may show me something I never knew. And then, hey, I may take it in and apply it to myself, and it may work for me.
Right.
It may work for me. So that's why I think people should start going in, asking themselves, hey, the why, the how, figuring out the answer for themselves, which they already have the answer. And when they do, man, take the risk, step outside that box, get outside your comfort zone, and then watch the whole new world just come to life for you.
Yeah. And I think too, like, I like how questions better than why questions. So let's say I might be like, why do I keep repeating the same cycle?
Right.
But instead of saying, why am I repeating the same cycle, a better question would be, how can I create what I want to create?
Flip the question.
Yeah. Like, you're going to get an answer equivalent to what you've asked. So if you're like, why am I in this cycle, then you're going to get an answer that says why you're in this cycle. But I want to know how can I move beyond. So
Okay.
yeah, so I think putting the how is a good thing to do. And then another thing that I've realized, kind of like as a young person, is whatever I say I want to do, I can do, right?
Right.
So let's say if I needed to come up with $50, then I'll be like, I need $50, and so then I can come up with $50. So then I'm like, well, why am I only asking for 50?
There you go.
You know, because
There
the
you
truth
go.
is, if for whatever reason you have some bill that came unexpectedly, and you're
Right.
like, I got to come up with $500 extra. What happens? You come up with $500 extra dollars. So then I'm like, well, why did we just ask for 500?
Yeah, why lowball myself?
Right.
Yeah.
So like asking a bigger question of ourselves, and you know, money is just one thing, but like with anything, you can ask yourself a bigger question. You can ask, you know, it's basically like we have limits on what we believe or what we feel we're deserving of. Because if I have a $500 bill that I need to pay, I'm only going to ask for $500 because I feel like that's maybe all I deserve or all I need. And so I'm thinking we need to increase what our deserving is, what we feel like we deserve. So why not ask for 5,000? Why not ask for 50,000?
Right.
Why not ask for 500,000?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
increasing our deserving. And so then those are questions you can ask instead of how can I come up with extra $500 this year or extra $1,000? How can I come up with extra $100,000 this year? And then things will line up for us to get exactly what it is that we feel that we deserve, right? And so then the question would become, how can I increase my deserving? How can I expand who I think that I am? How can I expand what I feel like I deserve? So to me, asking bigger questions of yourself and of the universe. Because, you know, a lot of us couldn't say, yeah, I think I want to make $1 million next year. How can I do that? Like, we can't ask that question because we don't believe.
We don't have that belief within inside
Right.
ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right with that. I think a lot of people don't. We can ask ourselves any type of question, but don't really have the necessary belief and faith in ourselves to sit back and to say, okay, well, I know I got to pay this $500 bill, but okay, let me just go ahead and get this $500. Well, you know what you want, instead of you just sitting back and analyzing, okay, well, this is what I want, so I know what I want. This is how I want to go about doing X, Y, Z to get what I want. You know, so you absolutely have a point with that, though. People need to really understand that you got to believe in yourself when you ask the question. So I say add that into the question as well. Yeah. So with myself, I say my biggest weakness that I had was I really didn't believe in myself. You know, I always seen myself as to where it was like, hey, I'm gonna be this individual helping people, and I want to be able to help people, but I'm too nervous to go out here and give myself to people. So what is it that I can do? You know, and it took me a while. It took me a long time, but on my page of words of wisdom, I always wrote down my thoughts, right? And I thought about it, and I said, well, people need to know who I am. People need to see me. People physically need to see who is writing this. And I did my first video, right? And I was so nervous. But when I did it, I felt so good because it was like, now this is your first step. So you did it. You believed in yourself. Now you got to keep going. You know, if you want to attract what you're looking for, now that you applied the one step to it, so now okay, baby steps, you know. And so and now I'm here. Now I'm here. Yeah. So, yeah, I would tell anybody to, when you're asking yourself those quality questions, behind asking yourself the question of the how and the why, have the faith behind to know that it's able to happen, but it can't happen if you don't have that amount of faith behind it.
Yeah, and I think too, another way to get the answer to the big question. So
Right.
let's say again, if I'm like, I want to make $100,000 extra dollars, and you don't have that feeling of deserving yet, and you might say, well, how can I increase my feeling of deserving?
Right.
And so you'll start getting answers. But another thing that you can ask that may resonate better or easier with you is to say, how can I increase my happiness? And so I think everybody feels like they deserve to be happy.
Right.
Or
Right.
I would say most people feel like they deserve to be happy.
Right.
So that's like something that's not going to give you a kickback. So if you ask, how can I increase my happiness? You'll start getting hits on, okay, well, I could do this, I could
Right.
do that, I could do this. And the thing is, the happier you are, the more able you are to attract great things to you and the things that you want. And so that in itself will help you to increase your feeling of deservingness, and that'll allow you to ask the bigger questions and the bigger questions and the bigger questions, and to the point where you're getting exactly what you want from the world.
You're right. So I mean, I would encourage anybody just to really go in deep within yourself, and when you're asking those questions, go big.
Yeah.
You know, really just go big. Yeah, why not? You know, what's the worst that's gonna happen? You know, but the more that you think big, you know, you may not get it right then and there, but you're holding on to what it is you believe in, and eventually over time you'll find you believe in yourself, it's gonna happen.
All right, so I am totally for asking yourself quality questions, realizing that the answers are within. We can just tap into that source that exists and runs through all of us and get the answers that we need. As you say, don't be afraid to be different, to step outside of your box, and ask questions. I believe ask questions that start with how, because that opens up a whole new can of worms that you can play with. How can I do A, B, and C? Increasing your level of deserving, your feeling of deserving. And then this is a question everybody can ask today is, how can I increase the level of happiness in my life? There's no short supply of happiness. Happiness abounds, and all things really abound. Abundance is everywhere, and whatever it is we want. And so just remembering that. Yeah. So thank you.
Not a problem.
Love it.
Not a problem.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, this is Arvat.
Steve.
See you later.